Hi, I'm Barbara Trudell. I'm the director of SIL Africa Learning and Development, which is a consultant group that focuses on the uses of African languages for learning and communication. And I was privileged to be one of the co-authors of the guides that you are looking at today. So the guide I want to look at with you here is a look at the basics related to language of instruction in foundational literacy and numeracy programs in sub-Saharan Africa. And this guide is divided into several different sections. You can see them there. And I want to walk with you through some of the key points found in these sections. Looking at language and learning in the formal classroom context, one of the key features of formal education is that language is central to the teaching and the learning. And the 4 language skills used in the classroom are listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Now, these language skills are necessary for successful learning of any classroom subject, whether it's reading or mathematics or science or whatever. And the reliance on language skills for learning is based on an assumption that the student understands the language in which these activities take place. And that's why being able to speak, understand, read, and write the language of instruction is crucial to effective learning. Now, looking at language of instruction choices. International languages, such as English, French, Portuguese, and Arabic, carry a great deal of prestige for historical, cultural, political, and economic reasons. And so these languages tend to dominate formal education systems, regardless of whether the pupils or the teachers can speak them. And the problem comes when the ability to speak international languages is not common among primary grade children in Africa, especially those in rural and low resource environments. However, looking at the broader debate around language of instruction, the debate about language of instruction is not only about classroom pedagogy. It is strongly influenced by the national political environment, global education expectations, parents' aspirations and their economic concerns, and beliefs about the use of different languages for formal learning. So literacy and numeracy programs in sub-Saharan Africa operate in a context where international languages of instruction are prevalent. And this happens despite research evidence that shows that a greater focus on local languages of instruction could lead to stronger learning outcomes. There are actual benefits of different language of instruction choices. And you can see some of them here. Some of the benefits of local language medium learning include enhanced learning of the child, decreased dropout rate, greater parental involvement and support in the child's learning, and inclusiveness, which is especially for girls who are less likely to be fluent in national or international languages than boys are. Now, there are also benefits to the use of national or international languages. They are higher prestige. These languages match the aspirations of the student or their family. And there's a broader availability of teaching and learning materials. And of course, it prepares the child for the language of instruction of secondary and tertiary education as well. But along with these real benefits of the different languages that can be used as language of instruction, there are a number of misperceptions about language of instruction in Africa. One of them being that knowing the second language will get you a job, whereas knowing only the first language won't. Now, the truth is, in Africa, many more learning opportunities are available based on local language fluency, as opposed to fluency in international languages. Another misperception: first language in school will keep my child from learning the second language well. Well, the truth is that using the first language in learning can facilitate learning of the second language and of other subjects as well. Another misperception is that you can't teach outside content in local languages. The fact is, any language can be used to teach any content, provided that the appropriate vocabulary has been developed. And another misperception, that permitting the use of local languages in school damages national unity. Now, the truth is that civil conflict and disunity do not stem from language diversity. They stem from unequal treatment, from injustice, from political disagreement. So with all these misperceptions and ideas about language of instruction, what does the research say? Well, we have found that multilingual education programs can produce learners who can successfully transition to a second language medium secondary school. And they can do that when the multilingual education programs have the following features. First, the use of the first language as the language of instruction throughout the primary grades. Having teaching and learning materials that have been developed specifically in the first language and for the first language. There need to be teachers who are bilingual or multilingual in the languages of the classroom. And that includes their written forms, so they can read and write these languages as well. There needs to be a strong second language learning curriculum that runs throughout the primary grades, as well as targeted second language vocabulary building in academic subjects. This is what will make for strong multilingual education programs. So what actually happens? Well, there are three models that you can see in Africa related to language of instruction. By far the most common is what is called second language submersion, in which the second language is the language of instruction throughout primary school. And there's no pedagogical support given for students' lack of second language fluency. And typically the second language here is a national or an international language. Now, much less common, but also can be found, model of language of instruction is the first language to second language early exit transition model. Now, in this model, the first language is the language of instruction through grades 1, 2, or 3. And the second language is the language of instruction afterwards. Now, this is a common policy choice, although usually it's limited to relatively few first languages in a given country. But this policy itself is not commonly implemented. And then far, far less common is the model featuring first language to second language late exit transition, in which the first language is a language of instruction into the upper primary grades, and the second language is the language of instruction thereafter. And this is not a common policy choice, unfortunately. But what we really want to be able to do is to work effectively within the context, whatever it is. The contexts in which language of instruction choices are made have important social, linguistic, political, and pedagogical aspects. And so in planning for language of instruction, it's really important to be able to work within those various contexts. Thanks very much for your attention today. I hope that you will go to the guides and read them through and gain much more information and understanding than what we were able to share today. And we look forward to further discussions with you on this and the other guides and any other issues that are burning issues for you where language of instruction is concerned.